For tonight's bedtime story, I want to tell you the tale of the feather duster and the very irritated lady, or how I narrowly avoided causing an international incident thanks to the intervention of some nameless kind ladies. As with many of my stories, I am not the hero. I was in Iraq, as I so often found myself, doing a story about the Iranian Gulf battle for influence, the Sunni-Shia split. I'm not going to give you the whole background because we do not have time for that, and I'm not really the expert anyway. Suffice to say, I found myself down in Najaf, which is near the Iranian border, and it's one of the holiest places in all of Shia Islam. It is home to the Imam Ali Shrine. Now, if you're a lady and you want to go there, it is not enough to wear your hijab and cover your clavicle and your neck and wear your manteau like I had. I was keeping my modest game 100. If you want to go in there, you also need to either bring, or in my case, rent, an extra scarf and a chador, which is the full body covering. So that is what I did. The problem is that I wasn't very good at wearing it. And it was super hot. And I also had to work and record and try to keep an eye on what the rest of the team was doing. My all-male team, which will come in to be important in a little bit. So I was sort of wrestling all this fabric and all my stuff. And we went inside. And it's absolutely stunning and super important to so many people. And I'm looking around and I'm trying to record, breathing in the atmosphere. And all of a sudden I feel whack, whack. What is this? I turn around. There is a stout, glowering, angry man brandishing a feather duster. He points it at me towards the tiniest sliver of hair. Things had slipped back a little and I was feeling a little bit of hairline, and he wanted to let me know that wasn't okay. Now at this point, I'm horrified, right? I don't want to cause offense. I'm in their special place, so I make the universal symbol for I'm terribly sorry, and I cover things up, and I think, well, now he and I can be friends. How wrong I was. I carry on. I'm watching my team floating, unbothered, unpoliced for their outfits and their bodies as they move to a different part of the compound to do some filming. And I can see that they need my guidance and a little direction. So I make my way over to join them. And as I do, I suddenly feel whack, 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 whack. This time I turn around with slightly less of the universal symbol for I'm sorry and a little more of the barely veiled what the. You know, the smile that doesn't reach the eyes? Because it is again my friend, Mr. Feather Duster. And he wants to let me know that as a lady, it doesn't matter if I'm a BBC boss lady, I am not supposed to be in that section. And he doesn't care if I've managed to get my chador game on just right. He is going to point the way with the feather duster for me to skedaddle my way on out. I wanted to share with him, and I tried to say, but my team, and I am the boss, but he did not care. I wanted to share a few more things with him, but I thought to myself, no matter how hot and bothered you are, this is not the time to cause a BBC journalist causes international incident, right? Just follow his feather duster and walk your way out. So I did. With a little bit of, hurt pride and dignity. But I thought, okay, you know what I'm going to do? I am just going to make myself as small as possible, get out of the way in a section I believe I'm supposed to be in. I'm going to make myself as small as possible. So I go to lean against the wall. You might have already figured out what the problem is here, but I hadn't. Did I mention how hot it was? It was so hot. Because as I leaned back, everything went. My chador, the rent-a-scarf, my hijab, all of it went. And not just with like a sliver of hair showing. It was like the whole harlotry shebang. And if I thought that that guy had stopped watching me, when I realized with horror what had happened and my eyes went up, I knew, because he was there and he was waiting. And I saw him see me and I saw him seeing me, you know, the way that works. And he started towards me. And I thought, this is an accident, and if he hits me with that feather duster one more time, so help me, I won't be held responsible for my actions. But somebody else was watching me at the same time. To my right, there were a group of women who had clearly been watching me have a hard time be graceful, and who had clearly been watching me mean no offense and not know what the heck I was doing. And at the same time that he started towards me, they rose up as if one. And may I say that they were graceful as all get out, like catwalk models in their chadors, none of the problems that I had. And they moved towards me and just sort of enveloped me, so that he was on the outside and they were around me. And then somehow we were all moving together over deep into the ladies' section, where Mr. Feather Duster seemed to fear to follow. And as we did it, they were fixing. Everything was somehow going into place. And we sat down. And they opened a bag of snacks. And I thought, I don't know what angels look like, but it might be these ladies. Now, sure, you could say, that wasn't much. They knew the lay of the land. But they didn't know me. I was a stranger in a strange land, for sure. And they did what they could, though. You know, they saw somebody having a hard time, and they weren't trying to overthrow the system like I might have been in about 4 more feather thwacks. Instead, they were like, you know what? We're going to go rescue her with a little bit of grace, and we're going to offer her something salty to eat and some water to drink. And she is going to feel a little bit better, and she is going to live to fight another day. And I often think of them when I am thinking about how we try to move through uncertainty. Like, we don't have to do it all at once. We don't have to do it in big swings. Sometimes we just need to gather around whoever needs help or whatever the problem is, move it a little bit, and open a bag of snacks. And there is bravery in doing what we can. And as for me, no, this obviously is not a story about my heroics. But that night when I got back to the hotel and the guys were going to go out and have a fish dinner down by the river, it's well known for it down there. And they were like, Mel, do you want to come? And I was like, absolutely not. I put on the gangster rap as loud as I could. I think it was Eminem, Lose Yourself, and Ludacris, Get Back. And I put on one of my most like revealing outfits that I had brought with me. And I had like a Mel party in my room where I felt totally like myself. And it is a way of like holding on to yourself when you have to behave and mask and be diplomatic the rest of the time to get through. Like, make sure you've got a place to go where you can put on your real self and blast the gangsta. I suppose it's not really gangsta rap, but blast your version of gangsta rap music. I mean, to be fair, I did burst into tears the next day as well in the world's largest cemetery, but I did that behind a tomb and nobody saw it. I'm only just telling you guys now, so I don't think it counts. But that was like, that bedtime story for me is one of the bravery of small acts and the bravery of keeping a part of yourself always for yourself. And I hope those ladies lived happily ever after. Mr. Feather Duster,